Me. Good evening, everybody. Tonight is February the 4th, 2025. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. This is the um, first community meeting for Edmondson Heights Civic Association this year. I am glad to see we all made it in safely. I hope that continues throughout the year. Um, as said before, I am not going to hold everybody tonight. I am prepared with a bit of an agenda, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not quite sure. Um, and I'll start kind of slow to give a couple people time to get in, and or those of you who have to grab snacks. Um, if I'm looking off to the side, it's because this is where my agenda is. Um, I wanted to I already thank everybody for coming in. I mean that sincerely, not just because it's on my agenda. And I want to um, introduce our board members. So I'm going to introduce our board members. We had a couple of board members to jump off for the 2025 year, which is perfectly fine. I want to thank Miss Susie Twig, Miss Ave Allen. I don't know about Nicole. What if Nicole, Miss Nikki Gray wants to stay on? I'll talk to you about that later, I guess. And I think Yvette. Apparently, I don't know anything. Miss Alvette Chase is, so we're gonna see. But for the meantime, we have our, I'm Jaquista Powell, your president. I live here on Barrett Road. I have Angela Lloyd. She is our vice president, and she is here by way of Granville. So is Sharon Davis. We have our treasurer, titularly, titularly. I don't know if all of that's a word, but William Jacobs, he is on the 1500 block of Langford. And we have Rosie Johnson, who is also Rosa Johnson. That's my mama, my bad. We have Rosa Johnson, who is with us from Langford Road, and Michael Hall, who is our Sergeant at Arms on Kirkwood. There are a few of them here. I didn't mean to miss, I just didn't go all the way down. That is also Melissa Singleton on Kirkwood. Um, I want to thank you all for sticking with me this year. I think the changes in the new year are going to make us or break us. We'll see. Um, I want to start with
Excuse
the,
me.
yes, ma'am, go for it.
Did you know that you are not on camera? Is that your choice?
No, ma'am, I did not know, but thank you very much. But
You're
have you
welcome.
heard me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
We just don't see you.
there I go. Thank you for letting me know that big camera signal was me. Okay, I have a habit of shutting the camera off, um, because there's a little slide thing there. It's just something for me to play with. So I do apologize for that. Um, so I put on Vaseline on my lips and everything. Um, a little bit of old business, and I'm gonna open the floor because I know that I don't have the um old business. There's a lot of old business, and I just don't have all of it that you guys may want to discuss. In After that, I'm gonna want to throw it to Officer Benz Clark because we have a question about it would have been, I want to say December. In December, there was something that happened on Langford Road during or as the school concert was happening. And I never really thought to find out what that was, if there was more to it than just that. But just to do some old business, we have got, I have mailed out some some letters for violations. I have mailed out some letters for delinquent dues also. Most of those have been to landlords. Um, just because they're usually last on my list when it comes to reaching out for anything. So this time I put them first. There hasn't been a great response, but there has been some response. Remember and inform your neighbors that if anybody plans on moving, I need my dues, my back dues, because I come after you with and like my bulldog over here. He's a pit. He's a pit. Um, I'm coming for my dues, and I need to make sure that the property is returned as close to the original design as possible before you leave. If I just may not be able to get to you before you decide to move, but I definitely have to get to you before you move. Um, I am still working on the newsletters. I am not in a big hurry about those anymore. I'm actually not in a big hurry if I can help it about anything anymore. I'll get to that in a second, Susie. Just not in a hurry about anything anymore. Um, with things that happen when they happen is the best that I can tell you. Um, here is where, because right now I'm waiting for Claire from BGREEN to join us. So I'm gonna have to kind of maneuver around a little bit. But I would like to know if there's any old business that anybody needs to check up with me on or ask about or any of the such. I may have answers. I may not. Where's Miss Bronzella? Okay. It's Claire. Stop it. There's Claire. Claire, you need a minute to check to catch your breath.
I'm here. Hi.
Okay, I'll give you a minute to catch your breath. Um,
Um, yeah, I'll be here for a little while. I can just let me know. I'm here.
I'll slide you in just a second.
Cool.
All right. Um, before I slide her in, Officer Benz Clark. Hey, Officer Helfenstein.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was trying to unmute because I was
I gave you
still
a heads up and everything.
still
Uh,
driving home from work.
okay.
But in reference to your calls for service this month, um you didn't have any major calls, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, I did have some stuff for you guys. The tax season is upon us, and around this time, people want to scam. So I just wanted to inform you of two new scams for you to be aware of. One is where they will call you from your local police, pretend they're from your local police department with some sort of urgency, demanding payment immediately. They may even like spook the number so it looks like it's your local police department number, but beware of that. If somebody should call you from the police department and saying that you owe them something. Also, I wanted to talk about PCRC. We are always looking for people in the community to join, to even come and show your support. You have time. It's the second Wednesday of the month, except for July. And in reference to your incident in December, I'm not prepared with details, but I think I kind of know what you're talking about. Would it be the shooting near Stella?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm not prepared with details on that because
Okay.
I didn't know that was I forgot
Oh,
to check that before I left. But you can always send me an email with the questions that you have, and I'll respond to that.
okay.
Um, and anything else, I will be here if you guys have something.
Thank you. Drive safely.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year. Also, guys, when she said the PCRC, that is the police Citizens Relation Council. I got
Police
at least,
okay.
correct me, because I was celebrating. Get up.
Police Community Relations Council.
Thought that was what I said, but all right then. Okay. I'll take it. Okay. Yeah, I have, since they've gone back into in-person meetings, I haven't been able to attend.
Did I
But when
say
they,
where it was at? I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I said it was held at the
no,
precinct the second Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock. That was me talking fast driving. I'm so sorry, you guys.
well, you have to do better than that. We can't afford no accidents with you. That's a bad look for you. Um, yeah, I will. Is there a can they join anytime?
Yes, yes, they can.
Okay, okay.
Yes, they can. And even if you decide not to join, just if you would come and show up and show your support, and it's another way to learn about the things in the community.
Mhm.
Oftentimes you have the captain who's right there if you have questions, or somebody from the admin staff that can answer questions that you may have.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna hold myself up. All right, gotcha. Um, with that, before as I get ready to slide Claire in, requires me to sign in to just,
And
um,
remember, I am here. I am here the duration of the meeting. If you guys should think of questions, I know when you first started talking and you said you were going to come to me, Margaret had called, so she was trying to get in,
I
but she
got it
was
here
having.
now.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay. So yes, Officer Benz Clark is here if you guys need her. I've got Margaret Stokes from the councilman's office trying to get in, and yeah, she's got some not so nice news, but I'll get to that later. Um, just kind of wanted to be respectful of everyone's time. Our guests, not guests, you know. Once you've gone in my refrigerator, you are no longer a guest for me. So, in November, this is, well, want to provide an update on the collaboration between Edmondson Heights and BGREEN and the work we're doing on our green spaces here. I will say one, that I dropped the ball a little bit, but I missed out on a meeting with us, Parks and Rec, and I cannot think of who the agency is, but I missed out on it and I sent a thorough email. I just didn't follow up on it because, as you may not remember, Parks and Recs just does not want to move like we move, and they don't want to give us permission to um, use, to do anything with, to touch the park. Some of it I understand, but at least the exterior of the park should be touchable, and I'm just gonna have to follow up on that. But however, in November, we were given a check from a Chesapeake Bay Trust from the grant that we're using to do a couple things here in the neighborhood, and we got a check for $16,500, and we had about 5 weeks to figure out what to do with it. We couldn't go shopping, not for real, anything like that. Otherwise, I would have been on it. Um, Shoes on it. So as of the 31st of January, I know I said December, but as of January, we spent it all. It's gone. Which it was a use it or lose it situation, and who wants to lose any of $16,000? And what we did is, where I think I'm going to, Angela, am I throwing it to you? And you throw it to Claire? Because I can go with what I have here. Okay.
You can if you want to. It's up to you.
So, Angela, thank you.
So that's things that we actually spent it on for this year because we could not buy any supplies like we did last time. We are doing some, Jaquista and I are doing, well, some of the board should have received um information from Monette from our survey in reference to our board. So if our board members have not responded by this time, I think she's wrapping that up and we're going to get together. She's going to send out some information for us to actually get together and meet so we can discuss that as a wrap up for that. That's one of the things that we actually spent funds on. The second thing that we spent funds on would be coaching for leadership for Jaquista and I, both just to make improvements for us as leaders, so that way we can pass it down and get our board in a good standing of working with one another and then relaying things back towards for the community. So that's another thing that we did. And some of them were, the other couple things were things that we normally do on a regular basis, and that is printing and the purchasing of stamps.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in um right there because I'm gonna jump in and backtrack just a little bit. When Angela said that we did a survey, we obtained the services of a consulting firm, which was mindfulness consulting, because we felt the need, there's a need to restructure our board and to figure out just kind of spread things out and figure out how the board members feel when it comes to the community, when it comes to duties, when it comes to how we'd like to see the community moving forward. And it was a really good idea. It was something that we really do need. So the consultant had a meeting with all but two board members. I don't know which two that they are. Angela and I won't know who did what, who said what, who we also had to be kind of interviewed. And the consultant will take everything that's been said and make recommendations for how we can restructure the board, how we can, what we need to do moving forward. As you all hopefully know, that being a part of the board is not a paid position. It's not, it is not a paid position, and a lot goes into it. And we just wanted to, with me, my feelings about my role in leadership and what is it that I can do better, what I've done, just just who I am as a leader. So we'll get feedback on that. We have a meeting, Angela and I, next week. I'm not really sure what it's about. They're gonna and basically get all of the board members together, and all of the board members will come up with this is how we can move forward. Um, this consultant is partially why we didn't have a meeting last month, because it was her voice that said some things just won't get done. If you can't do it, some things just won't be done. And that's where in the beginning of the meeting where I said just kind of the things that I've been stressing and the things that I've been kind of um pulling, just kind of not doing so well with. And I didn't have an agenda. So I didn't have anything to talk to you all about, and I didn't want to waste your time, and I didn't want to get up here and fake it and do a dance. So we just didn't have a meeting. And I think some people showed up. I'm sorry. I will try to do better next time. But yeah, it was just a matter of if I can't fit it in, if it doesn't fit into my life and how things are going, because my life should come first. I don't think I should have said it that way, but I did. But I did, and you all know what I mean. So, um, with that, yeah, there's gonna be in the new year some restructuring of the board, and I'm excited about it. And we got think I think we'll be able to share the outcome, the feedback that we got, and to be held accountable to the community and what we can do and what we can do better. And we ask you all the time, and you all have nothing. So I had to go outside and say, what can we do? Because I want us as a board to serve the community um, as best we can. With that, that was what we did with the funding from last year's grant money. And here is where I'll slide it to Claire, who is Claire Camberdella, who is, as you all may or may not remember, who knows, it's a new year, um, collectively, along with a lot of other communities and resources, we are a part of Team BGREEN. And Claire is our captain. And Claire, take it
DeQuista,
away.
you're the captain, but I'm very happy to be here. So yeah, I want to say thank you for letting me take up some of your time. I'm going to make it as brief as I can and just make sure that I open the floor to questions. So I do have a few slides with pictures. I was lucky enough to go with Jaquista and Angela to visit Councilman Young back in August. And so these are just some of the things that we shared with him, super brief. But I first want to introduce myself to those of you who I have not met. I do see some familiar faces and names here on the call. So thank you for having me back. Like Jaquista said, my name is Claire Camberdella. My job is actually with the University of Maryland Extension. So I work as a watershed restoration specialist, and that means that I do all sorts of things to provide assistance and education to the broader community. So Extension is kind of the outreach arm of the University of Maryland, and my focus is on watershed health. And so that means it's kind of like where the land and the water meet. So we look at all the land that the rain falls onto and where that rain goes and into our waterways and the health of those waterways. So Edmondson Heights is lucky to have a beautiful large park with a waterway flowing through it. So that's kind of the connection of how I got connected with Edmondson Heights. So if I can share I can share my screen.
You should be able to share.
Okay. Let me
Yes, I just
Are
see.
you
gave you
gonna show
access.
the video? The
I am
video?
gonna show the trailer of the video.
Okay, that's good.
And are you seeing this in presenter
Yeah.
mode now? Okay, so here we are. Okay, good. That's not today's date on there. We're gonna just kind of really briefly go over some of the things that we've done together from January 2024. That's when I started working most directly with Jaquista and Angela. Prior to that, Jaquista had reached out to an organization called Neighborspace of Baltimore County, who, and their their mission is to work with communities in developing private park spaces. So these are privately owned spaces, and Neighborspace was like, this is great. You have a wonderful project here, but your park is public space. So it just didn't fit in with their mission. But Neighborspace being a partner in BGREEN and me being a partner in BGREEN, the Edmondson Heights community came to us and we said, hey, I think that's a place with a lot of potential, and we would really like to work with you all. So we have a lump of funding, which Jacosta was talking about, how we spent our this past year's funding. And this is coming to us through the Chesapeake Bay Trust, the Chesapeake Bay Funders Network, and these other associated organizations. So this is a capacity building initiative, and that kind of where the definition of capacity building is something that I think we are still working on, but it's broad enough to include things that might sound like they go with BGREEN and this, watershed and kind of environmental focus that I described that I have, as well as the sort of nuts and bolts of running a community organization and building community engagement that is the heart of the Edmondson Heights Civic Association. So this capacity building initiative, we're lucky that we have the flexibility to fund kind of the different things that Jacosta has been describing. So there are 10 founding organizations listed here. And then we have 4 community-based organizations that we're working with.
Hey, Claire.
Yep.
1 second. Is it something that should be on your screen right now? Because we're seeing your actual desktop.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there is something that you should be seeing. So I'm sorry that you're looking at my desktop. Let me try this again. Thank you for saying something, Angela.
You're welcome.
Oh, look, there it is. Okay, this is actually my second slide. So here, let me jump back so you can see everybody's logos, our funders. There you go. So these are the funders that I was talking about. And then here are the 10 founding organizations and then the 4 current community-based organizations that we're working with. So Edmondson Heights Civic Association, along with Still Meadow Community Partners, that's kind of organized around the Still Meadow Community Fellowship in West Baltimore. So they're in the city, but probably the closest community to Edmondson Heights. The Nepali American Cultural Center is in northern Baltimore County, and then Rebuild Johnson Square Neighborhood Organization is right kind of in the heart of the city. So these other 10 organizations have a variety of focuses that all kind of relate to community development and building resilient nature-based resources within these communities. So we did come up with a vision for BGREEN a while back. I'll just read it off, and here you can see a few of us walking through your beautiful park. Baltimore Greater Regional Environmental Equity Network, which is what BGREEN stands for, is a coalition of community partners across Baltimore City and County working together to increase their capacity, resources, and interconnectedness in order to grow strong, equitable, healthy, and resilient communities from a foundation of nature-based solutions. So, like I said, the park was kind of the thing that brought us together. But we're doing more than that, or we're able to support more than just what's going on in the park, which is good because not much has gone on in the park in the past year that we've been working with you all. But we're still working on it. We're not giving up. So that's something that I was able to do, is to kind of get down into the park and get an understanding of what your resources are. There's a waterway that's flowing through your park. It flows 24/7. It's always there. This photograph is showing that it is actively eroding. So that means that at times there's a lot of water flowing through there, and it's kind of eating away at the soil surrounding the stream. Those trees are starting to fall down. That's carrying the soil and other potential pollutants with it downstream into our larger rivers and streams, eventually the Chesapeake Bay. So this isn't super safe to hang out in, and it can be a source of pollution. And this is something that Baltimore County works on. They can identify potential problems like this and work towards towards restoring these streams, but they've got, if you could believe it, there's like a long list of streams to work on and limited funds. So we're coming in and trying to think creatively about how we can work towards creating a more usable park space while also enhancing the natural resources that you have here. So this is your stormwater outfall. That's sort of just a 90-degree turn from the last photo that you were just looking at. And so this is infrastructure that was built a long time ago and just hasn't, stood the test of time and could use an update. And I will say these are all this is my personal assessment. So you might get differing opinions from different people. So, and I'll just pause there for a second. Does anyone have any questions so far? I'm going to just briefly go over what we've done, what we did last year, and then what we're thinking about doing in this coming year. But I just want to pause for questions.
I'll say here in this picture, I would really love to thank these, I want to say kids because everybody's not kids. These were volunteers from
Grow Home.
Grow Home.
Grow Home.
Baltimore. They volunteer, and this is if you see, I get a little, because we'll have people who will come in to help us in our neighborhood, but we won't have people who will walk outside of their door just to help our neighborhood. I know everyone, your life is your house and maybe your front yard and your backyard, but collectively, we've got something really beautiful going on here. And it bothers me that other people can appreciate it better than we can. Everybody here just did such a great job. It was a beautiful day. This was June 1st, I
It
think.
was June 1st, yeah.
It was a beautiful day. And I mean, the weather was with us. Nobody got bitten, eaten up, trampled on. And Angela got to taste what do we call those berries?
Was it a wineberry?
No.
Yeah,
The
I forgot what the berry was, but
it's not a mulberry.
Oh, it was a mulberry. No, I think it was a
yeah,
mulberry.
it was some type of berry because Rosa went to come back and get a bunch of them, and it was actually my first time, and I'm not so accustomed to just walking outside literally across the street from my house and pulling things off the tree. I needed to rinse it and do all that, and they were like, Angela, just go ahead and eat it. That's how I used to. That was my first time actually doing it, so yeah,
The
I did
rest of
something
us have been
different that
eating
day.
them since we've been
Congratulations,
kids.
Angela,
And
congratulations. If it was off the tree, Angela, it was mulberry. If it was off the branch,
Yeah,
it was a raspberry.
Yeah.
and I'll be picking them with my bucket when they come back in the spring. So go ahead.
So yeah, this was an event that took place on June 1st. The folks that you see here are all associated with a group called Grow Home. So it's a workforce development group. And they have a little bit of expertise in doing these types of activities. Our goal on this day was to remove invasive plant species from the park. So you probably noticed vines growing on the trees, and they also grow along the ground and they look really pretty, but they can actually eventually kill the trees. So that was one of the main focuses for that day. And these students have done that work elsewhere, and they came in and they're sharing their knowledge while also dedicating their time to doing a little bit of work in the park there, which was pretty cool. I do see some familiar faces and names here. I know we worked together on the conservation landscape garden kits. So we were able to fund, I think it was 16 kits total. It might have been 21 kits for folks to take home and install at your homes. We also provided compost and mulch. So it was like a whole garden kit. it might have been too much, but you know, we live and learn. So maybe we'll do smaller kits next year if we get a chance to do that again and if there's interest. And then we also worked with Baltimore County. So this was a successful partnership with the county in their Operation Retree, where if you remember receiving maybe a hanger on your doorknob saying, hey, do you want a tree? We're going to come plant trees. These are your options. Sign up here. So several trees were planted around the perimeter of the park. And then a lot of residents in the community also received trees in their front yards. They only do front yards. They don't do backyards. But if there is interest for backyards, I got a connection for that too. So these are some of the things that we did last year. 2025, like Jaquista said, we've already with this, a lot of this funding from our last round has been spent. One of the things that we spent it on was engaging an organization called Neighborhood Design Center. They're one of those 10 founding organizations in BGREEN to do a community survey. So they're going to do, I don't have the specifics in front of me, but I think they're going to come to a few community events with the survey and administer the survey throughout the community to get an idea from you all, the residents, the people who are going to be using this park, kind of what you want to see in your green spaces. So we'll only know that if we get responses. So I really encourage you to keep an eye out for those events and for that survey when it comes out. But this is a chance for you to have some input into what the park might look like, how the park might get used. There are a couple of other green spaces that we've been looking at, and this is one of them. This is the kind of wide median strip, which is on Harwell Road, and
Yep.
then the triangle, which is just up the block. So those are the green spaces that we're looking at. You know, we've had some other ideas kind of bounced around as well. I mentioned the vines that kill the trees in the park. They will also kill the trees in the front yard, in your front yard. So, you know, looking at, you know, potentially arranging for educational workshops or work days to go out and try to provide some assistance where it's needed in maintaining, you know, our mature trees, which are nice and can improve our property values, but if they're covered in vines, then they can become a hazard. So another thing we've done a lot of talking about is organizing a community green team. And I hope that that's something that comes, I don't want to speak out of turn, but you know, once we get information back on these surveys, then, you know, we'll see if that's something that we can really make come to fruition. And then we just, you know, we want to organize more events and workshops. So we are really lucky that we have this funding, and we hope that it sticks with us. And we're just really excited to continue to engage with everyone here. And I'm gonna pause. I think that was my last slide. Yeah.
Claire, let me jump in just a sec. Are you
Please do. Yep,
pausing
I was
for
done with that.
feedback?
I do have the video too, if you want to see that.
Okay, yeah, we do want to see it. I want them to see it.
Okay.
But I wanted to say, one, that sign that was just on the screen has been adopted by our neighbor, Jean Cease. You guys may know Jean from walking around the neighborhood picking up trash. She is really passionate about things, and she is really passionate about, if you guys have seen, I want to say for Thanksgiving and Halloween, it's been decorated and cleaned up. So the guys who do the landscaping in her yard, we have art, and it's not going to be Chris, but I'm going to call him Chris. They come out and they kind of decorate it, clean the weeds out of it and everything. I'm not a gardener, so I mean, but there are two other signs that if anyone has think they've got the gardening bug and wanna adopt them, please, by all means. The board will be looking for grant opportunities to replace those signs. There have been some, and now that there's a new county executive, who knows if that will be an option for a grant from the county. But we'll look into it. There was something else, but oh, Claire mentioned we did learn how to remove vines, and something coming in the new year that I'm gonna kind of discuss is if that's something. Yeah, she said kind of classes on how we can do it. It's a little bit fun, it's a little bit not. But, and we have like trees that are, some of them are half dead or whatever. We have been able to, when we did the park cleanup, we were able to get a wood chipper, but we weren't able to use it. So there's things that are possible, and we just really need you guys to just kind of listen, be on board, kind of show a little bit of support, because you might be able to get something done with that tree in your yard. There's all kinds of stuff. But that was me. Claire's going to show you guys a real, I think it's a really cute, it's a trailer for a video that it just kind of explains the collaboration of all of the BGREEN connection, and I think you may see a familiar face in there somewhere.
Yes. So, and I will say this is we do have so Susanna asked, do we now own a wood chipper? No,
No.
it was not purchased. It was supposed to be a part of the park volunteer day, but Parks and Rec decided they didn't want us using heavy equipment, which, I mean, you know, it's safer that way, but next time. Then we'll have wood chips.
Yeah.
So this video is about the whole BGREEN network. So it's not just Edmondson Heights, but it kind of it's nice. It's a nice looking video, gives you kind of a good overview. And I will say this is the trailer because the final video hasn't gone through its final edit yet. But we'll be excited to share that once it does. And I'm going to share my screen. Oh, wait, hang on. Gotta do the audio thing. Okay. Can you see Baltimore City?
There it is. Yep.
BGREEN is working with local community members to help enhance the green resources that are here. Coming together has enabled us to bolster each other's work to not only do things like update aging infrastructure.
And partnering with organizations like Rebuild Metro and BGREEN enabled us to move very quickly and actually rebuilding this neighborhood.
Also to improve stormwater outcomes.
So that when the flood happened, the stop signs across the street, that's how high the water was.
It's coming like a river of water. Where's it coming from? We don't know.
Yeah, right.
And to improve safety and enjoyment of the outdoors.
I don't know, you might want to hold on.
We have a master plan that has been created for our Peace Park. The future is looking good.
Oh my God, it's so much clearer.
Now we will have a guidebook for a well thought out plan for our neighborhood.
So we as neighbors can make it to be what it should be.
Can you only imagine?
So
I can imagine, and I think this
Yeah,
gives this gives everybody the opportunity to imagine also, because the really heavy stuff, the machines and stuff going on and pulling up trees and doing that was not us. That was that was
right. So
yeah.
if I might add, the one thing that I'll say is that when I joined the group a little bit late, so I wasn't around when they were selecting, kind of identifying different communities in the city and the county to work with. One of the things that was done intentionally at that time, though, was to find communities that were sort of in different places in this green capacity building process. So a lot of that heavy equipment that you saw that was at Still Meadow Community Fellowship's Peace Park. And so they've been at it for a while, and they've been able to hire grant writers and to get funding for bigger projects that are already going on. And that's useful, for us working in Edmondson Heights because we can kind of see what the possibilities are. So it's a collaborative to share resources and learn from one another. And it's been pretty exciting to be a part of. I feel really lucky to be here. So I would like to stop talking so much now. And if there are any questions, I would love to answer them, but otherwise I can hang out.
Yeah, and to kind of our green spaces are not just the park. Our green spaces can't be just the park because we're getting so much resistance from Rex and Park. I think some of you see some changes going on in the median on Harwell. But I also think when you're traveling on Harwell, you can see better on those crossroads too. Those will probably, all of those shrubs will probably come up and be replaced with native plants. I know that especially on Newfield, everyone is asking, but what about the triangle, the trees on Triangle? And we are looking at those, and because the county is kind of playing not even hot potato, they're playing not it. We didn't plant them. We're not going to touch them. We're going to try to touch them. We're going to try to touch them. There's some beautiful trees, but then there's some trees that just kind of popped up from bird poop. So, but the exact how it's gonna, the design of it, that's why we have a design team. And if anyone has any ideas, this is where the design team will come in and ask for everyone's input. And I know everybody has input, but if you can take the time to join us when that happens, to just kind of, what do you think? I'm sure there's people who know a little bit. Somebody's got a nice living room and can tell us how to make this whole place into a living room. So yeah, that's us with BGREEN. And it comes back to me. Okay.
So before you start off, just those three, if you guys weren't aware, those our three different green spaces are actually managed by three different organizations for Baltimore County. So Parks and Recs and what was the other one? That's sort of kind of erased them from my
property management or state
property
highway
management, but the one that's actually
Highways.
behind me is from where is it again from, Claire?
It's the highways department.
So it's
state.
three different organizations that we literally have to go through to get approval or get authorization to be in those spaces. And when Claire mentioned about us actually being down in the actual park back in June, the pushback was that they didn't want anyone that was not from the county to actually be down in those spaces. So when Claire is briefing in her briefing with the watershed down there, if you guys are walking or down in the area, be extremely careful, because when we had our meeting with Councilman Young, we technically not supposed to be down inside of that park. So you're actually down there at the risk of your own, because we don't have any say so of what actually goes on and how it's being managed. And because it's eroding down there, they don't want anyone to get harmed or hurt. So I wouldn't suggest you actually walking, as I see a lot of people walking their dogs down there, and then some of the kids actually play down there. So be extremely careful. And then Parks and Recs or property management were actually here doing some work down in the park on yesterday.
We did get them to they mow regularly down there. They're pushing back some of the green overgrowth. And I walk my dog down there because it's a really good place to just let them off the leash and let them run, and they have a good time. My suggestion with the none of us are supposed to be down there, we're going to be down there. We're going to be down there. The closer you get to the stream, which is at the corner of Sunset and Forest Park, the closer you get to the stream, just be careful. The stream is there. That's where you'll see the fallen trees, the erosion happening. I'm down there. I go down there, I check to see how things are going and what the possibilities could be. So I haven't had any problems down there. It's actually beautiful down there. And I would hope at some point, because it's nicely shaded, at some point we can probably use the park closer to the corner of Granville and Harwell and just kind of have a community outing. So, or any, because it's a big hole in the ground. And when we had people down there from the neighborhood who hadn't been down there in years, and they thought we're just reminded how nice of a space it is and how shaded and everything. And I do agree, it's really nice down there, or it can be. It is, and it can be. We just want them to keep it that way. And yeah, we want to see what we can do with the different green spaces.
Krista?
Yeah, but yes, ma'am.
For clarification, did the Parks and Recs people said they didn't want our bodies down in the grass area? Or did they say they didn't want us down where the water was running?
They said the park.
They don't want you
However,
in there, period.
They said period. However, it's because of the erosion. And when you go in, you can tell that where the erosion is. So that really is closer to the stream. And where the trees, it's my understanding that the trees that have fallen in there, you can't see the stream. You have to kind of you have to travel a little bit to see the stream. But there's the fallen trees are blocking that way. I know that I just so everyone else will know. There's the fallen trees are there blocking the way. So we're not really
Right.
falling in.
We're in no danger because Parks and Recs shoved all the trees that fell or they cut it along the waterway, so you cannot get to it.
Yes. And I think they're saying don't go because they really don't want to be
responsible for anyone getting harmed down in the park. So that's the gist of it.
But if you're looking for where your kids are when you can't find them, a lot of them are down there at the stream hanging out. There's a lot of hanging out. I heard they've been down there for years, and it's the way it is. But yeah, the kids go down at their own risk. But and as far as your question about, I think you asked it out loud. We don't own a wood chipper. We had access to the wood chipper, and at the last minute we were told, no, don't touch anything. So we could have access to a wood chipper again if it's necessary. So yeah, I think that's really neat. And we wanted to take somehow the chipped wood and give it back to the neighborhood as so it could be used for mulch. So
I sure would like to hear Parks and Rec say, oh, you can't get down there because we're working on it and we're gonna have it worked on so that you can get back down in there.
Oh no, they're not working on it.
Don't hold your breath for that, Susie. That's not gonna happen.
No,
never.
No.
That's really, I find that really irresponsible of them.
Yeah. And that's what we're gonna push them to do, then put signs that say do not enter then. Because if there's no signs, there's no way for everyone to know, to communicate that effectively with everyone. If there's no signs, we can go down. So that's gonna be on them. Go ahead, Claire.
Yeah, the other thing that I'll say is that whatever information is gathered through these community surveys. So we said we've hired Neighborhood Design Center to do the survey to, get an understanding of what everyone wants to see in the park. That information isn't just going to go to Neighborhood Design Center. It's going to be available for all of you to see, and it's going to be available for us to then share with Parks and Rec. So the points that you just made, Susie, about like this is an unsafe space and it's managed by Parks and Rec, then it seems like it might be, responsible for them to take care of it. That's all really, really helpful information, and those viewpoints are really, really valuable to share. So please, please, please do share that information. I also just want to point out, I put my contact information in the chat. So Jaquista, you're also welcome to share it with anyone who asks afterwards if anyone isn't able to capture it now. But should I hang out for a little while or okay. So thank you so much for your time tonight. Thanks for having me, and please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll just hang out for like one more minute if anybody has a question specifically for me.
Thanks,
I'll
Claire.
give you guys time to come up with a question for her. If they don't, Claire, go and eat dinner and do all the things. So we love you. Thank you very much.
All right. Take
Here
care,
is
everybody.
where, yes, ma'am. Here's where I am going to move on to, I guess I should have been ready to move on. There is something you guys are not gonna like, and that is, for the unforeseeable future, there is no dumpster day. Oh, it is my understanding that I think it's an issue with the new county executive, or the interim county executive. And there's a town hall meeting that will be held on Thursday. And I have been reached out to by Margaret Stokes to attend, to kind of wag my finger and give them the business, or beg and say, please, 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 because dumpster day is, the community cleanup funded, is funded by the county. The shredding part that we were doing was funded by us. But the dumpsters were definitely funded by the county. It was a program throughout the county. And I guess with the interim county executive, there's a lot to have to listen to and make it known that actually the dumpster day is when I get to see most of you. That is when we can get people to come out, and it is my understanding now that when you give people something, they will show up. And I try to give you something all the time, but I will not be able to give you that. We will not have one this spring, and I'm probably sure there won't be one in the fall. So 2025, it's a day of no dumpsters. We will, I don't know, we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll see how much dumpsters cost, or I don't know. But with that, I'd have to get more people to pay their dues. Let's get some of these delinquent dues rolling in, and then I'd be more comfortable with an expense like that. So that is that. Bad news. There's one more thing. We have purchased QuickBooks, which is what we've needed all along. And the purpose of purchasing QuickBooks, how long it's going to be before we get to use it, I don't know, because we pretty much have to build it up to what we need it to be. And this way, what we've been doing is tracking dues through multiple spreadsheets. And it's very Okay. It's
Time
very
consuming.
yeah, it's time consuming. It's a lot of working with formulas and this and that. And it is. So we're hoping that what I'm working on one is to get the information correct, which I'm back at it. Uh let's see. Can you I think this is Margaret. We need to unmute Margaret. Um Margaret, you can't unmute yourself because I think there's only one person here. I think it's you. But
Can you hear me, Jaquisa?
yes, ma'am. Guys,
Oh,
that
hi.
was that, but we have Margaret Stokes here from the
Y-
county councilman's office.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm actually just on the phone line. I was unable to get in, but I just want to piggyback regarding the cleanup. It's not gone away. Right now, they're just not accepting applications, and it could just be a budget issue where they are reevaluating on how they can continue the program. So it's not gone away as of right now. It's just they're not accepting applications. They may open back up for applications after the town hall, maybe just hearing from some of the residents within the community. So I don't want to just put out information that I don't have facts. The cleanup is not gone away as of right now.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair enough. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I will keep everyone posted on the outcome of that. So that's hopefully hopefully something good comes from it. Hopefully. Um I have a little bit of new business. It's not a lot, and then I'll open it up. I have a little bit of new business, and then once I open it up, then we're just gonna let everybody go, except for the people who don't want to go. And then we're gonna take it off record, and I have an unrecordable conversation to have. Um, I have not discussed this
Jaquisa,
with, yes, ma'am.
one last thing to mention really quick about the ratification. The only communities that's in District 1 that were included, it's 7 districts, but in District 1, which was Pat, included in this year's ratification is going to be West Emmondale, Emerson Heights, and Riverview. They're the only communities I saw on the map. So that's positive for us, okay?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Oh my. Yeah, some budgets. Don't lose some things, it looks like. But I will, as it's my job to do, I'll advocate for Edmondson Heights. I'll continue to advocate. New business, which it shouldn't be new business, but I want to remind everybody to please put salt on the sidewalks after it snows, before it snows, preferably after it snows, but definitely before the ice. I have personally slipped, and I'm at the age where slipping just does not work for me. It it does not work. I think some of you may have received a little email I sent out, and it was right after the slip, so you could hear it in the tone of the email. But I do that tone to get the attention. So people, if you see something coming from me, you might think, oh, what's going on now? But yeah, there was a lot of slipping and sliding going on. And I know that some renters may not be aware, but as homeowners, if somebody falls and busts their butt on your property, hey, some homeowners insurance will come in very handy. I prefer not to use my homeowners insurance unless it is an emergency. And when there was an emergency, I could not use it. So I just want to remind everybody, salt those sidewalks and in the best way possible, say, please remove your chairs from the streets. I know that it is very it looks very good to, or no, it does not look good. I know it feels good to reserve your parking space, but there is currently no snow on the streets. There's currently no snow, but I guarantee you, when I go out to take this walk, there will be at least two, well, no, people are home now. But if you walk in the evenings, there'll be at least two traffic cones and a great deal of chairs. Chairs are sitting on the curb instead of in the street because they have their vehicles there now. Um, I will say that I put in a work order to have the cones removed because I'm pretty sure some of those cones belong to a county or state agency. And according to them, they cost a lot and they would like them back. So I did put in a work order for that. How to drive home, that the chairs need to be back on your porches or in your backyards or wherever you put them. I'm not quite sure, but I do want to, at our next board meeting, um, discuss writing standard operating procedures to adopt for the neighborhood for things like this. I understand that when it
Quick,
snows and you
Shaquita,
shoveled yourself out, yes.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but while we're talking about the cones, I would just like to inform the community. First, I want to say thank you for reminding your community, but it is $100 fine. So place cones and chairs at your own risk.
I mean, $100 fine. Is there any way that if you all are just driving around basically and you see those cones and chairs and okay, because I'd
The
like to give
only
out a
the
couple
only
of
hold up
tickets.
on finding the people is just having to identify who cones and whose chair there is. You know, I went out on a call where it was cones and chairs in front of someone's door, but it wasn't their cones and chairs that they put there. And they
Okay,
literally almost got into an altercation about it because somebody else put cones and chairs in front of their door to save a
okay,
parking spot in front of somebody else's house.
okay, okay, gotcha. Good to know. But it burns my buns a bit as I'm walking, and there's just chairs everywhere. And there's not even in the evenings, not so much cones, but you do have cones sitting on the curb, but it's all of these chairs. And if you have at any point noticed that your chair was not in your space or it was not on the curb, it is very possible that I moved it. It's it does something to me and I can't move all of them. And sometimes I just want to resort to violence on them, but I cannot, and I have to remove myself from the situation. But it's ugly, y'all. It's ugly, it's raggedy. Um, and I know some people are okay with ugly and raggedy, but my job and the job of the board is to protect the value of this community, which includes my house and yours. And I know you may not plan on selling your house and you may not care about how much the house across the street goes for, but the amount that the house across the street goes for will be telling on the kind of neighbors that you get moving forward when somebody moves into that house. And you want raggedy neighbors, you be a raggedy neighbor. But if you want decent neighbors, you want people to drive through the neighborhood and go, oh, this is a beautiful neighborhood. Because I drive through and go, oh, this is a beautiful neighborhood. Then be a beautiful neighbor. I don't think it's a very hard thing to do. If it is, hey, let me know. We'll see what we can do. But those chairs, those cones, those $100 fines sound good to me. Um, but yeah, we want to just kind of come up and we'll get more information from Officer Benz Clark and yeah, and see what we can do. It's horrible. I will
I'll send
eventually,
you the code tomorrow. I'll email it, and you could probably include it in your newsletter just to remind folks that it is against Baltimore County Code for those cones and sheds.
I appreciate that. It's very raggedy, and that okay, I'll save that for no recording. But yeah, if I know that we'll have the rewatch gang, the people who can't be with us live here tonight. So the people who do rewatch is really putting out a real stink eye because I don't know who you are, but still giving you the stink eye, and please remove your chairs or I will have a very nice mismatched set of furniture in my backyard. Um, yeah, I'll steal. Um, that the cones in the future, and it's a part of once we are, I don't know how far to completion we'll be with our green program. What we would like to do at some point, the board has discussed, and I think it will be great. It'll be great incentive, and I may have mentioned it here before, but to create a beautification program where we award neighbors who go the extra mile and they help our neighborhood be the beautiful neighborhood that it is. And if you see some, you get things from me, and sometimes it says, "Thank you for keeping Edmondson Heights beautiful." That's kind of the slogan that I'm going with because it's what we want to do is keep Edmondson Heights beautiful. Um, and and one last thing, two last things. Three last things as my closing remarks. One, our next meeting is March the 4th. It's the first Tuesday in March. Sometime in the future, I will hope to have, we've had two different sets of people who wanted to be speakers for us. One is someone who can speak to us about planting the seeds to um, kind of take care of plan what we want to do with our properties and our estate. I guess it's estate planning. Um, just planning for when when we're gone. So I thought it was a really good personal conversation that I had, and I really did want to bring that to you guys because we do have people who unfortunately pass away and the house ends up just kind of being. And so I thought it was a really good conversation, and I want to eventually, in the future, bring that to you guys. And we also had someone who was interested in speaking to us about Edmondson Heights and redlining. So that was a good conversation also. Um, but yeah, let's not block the alleyways like the burgundy car on Newfield. I did reach out about that, so you guys know. I got an email about a neighbor who said, "Stop letting your dogs go in her yard and pee on her fence." Um, I'm just moving that forward. I'm just saying. That yeah, there'll be no dumpster day, and we don't know if we're going to have any events this year. We discussed if we were going to do National Night Out, and I thought it's possible that we don't. And if we want to kind of be in touch with our community leaders, if we don't do National Night Out, it would be possible to engage with them, and they have a little bit more time than going from place to place to place, and that sounds exhausting. And it's not for that reason, but because the turnout it's usually visitors. It's usually visitors, and we want the community to want to be involved because it ends up being a lot of work for us. And if you guys don't come, what are we working for? So chill. What are we working for? So we're just gonna have to come back to you on that. I was very interested in doing a like a family day, but we can't get you guys out to do anything. So, or to come and so it's a nice idea. I've got lots of nice ideas up here, but yeah, the follow through is a lot for the reception and the outcome that we get. So, we're just gonna have to see. Maybe we won't do it. Otherwise, does anyone have anything that they want to bring to the table, they want to discuss, they want to remind me of?
Jaquisa, I do. I thought Shauna would be on the line tonight. And she is the community school facilitator for Edmondson Heights Elementary. They will be having their meeting, their shared decision-making team meeting on Thursday, February the 6th. And it is virtual and it's at 4:30.
And that's Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, we have the town hall meeting. I'll figure something out because either I
And
go to one.
when's Ed Heights' PTA meeting?
That I want to
They are
say
they're
meet.
now virtual, so
Do they
it
meet
is
on the
possible to
third?
attend.
Is it the third? Susie, don't quote me on that. I'm thinking it's on the third, but I would really have to verify that through Shauna because she's the shared decision making. So I'm not really because they're normally on the call. And they normally inform
Yeah.
us on when we actually have our meeting. So I would have to verify that and get back with you.
Okay.
Are we able to use their building as we did in the past?
For
We should be
meetings?
able to.
I was thinking that we have a hard time getting people to come out to events that are in the park. Maybe they would come to an inside family event in the cafeteria or the gymnasium.
But that would be
That
off.
is
That would be off school time.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless we did something during the school year. Are you talking about off during school
an
the school
evening,
year or afterward?
an evening or a Saturday, either during the school year or, in the summer, either one.
The PTA is looking for kind of like us, they're looking for a president, a vice president. I think they have a treasurer. I think the next meeting I have for them is March, I think, but we'll get a better date for that. But they need to they need help. Yeah, the January, nope, that was January last year, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, PTA needs help. They need a president and a vice president. And their previous president and vice president is elementary school. So when the kids go to middle school, the parents don't feel the need to be part of that anymore. But they really do. I'd like to work with them because there's things that the kids need and they shouldn't have to go without. The neighborhood the should support the school. They're our school. There was something else there. Yeah, the shared decision making meeting that is later on, and basically shared decision making, it's students, family, and the community, and working together to make shared decisions about how the community school and how everyone can work together. The kids want to do things, they want to use the schoolyard, um, they want sports, they want these things. And I think Shauna Watson is doing a great job. They're doing community events in the school. I know they've done food giveaways, they've done different things throughout the community, and I really want you guys, they send me something, I want you guys to be on the lookout for those things. We need to support, but they have things that we really, that the community needs. So, so we really need to, they're doing, I think they have another pantry, a food pantry coming up.
Yeah,
They're doing a couple of those.
the last one, the last meeting that they had, that I attended to, she did briefly discuss about the food pantry, and I think that's it is coming up, but I think she has to go to another meeting in order for it to get be established.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
reestablished because it was already there.
Yeah. Guys, I can't remember my who from my ha half of the time. So showing up to things like that, I'd like for the community to actually just kind of, when we can, and there's things that we need. It's not just supported, but there's things that the community can use. And if you have time when these events happen, to just kind of stop by and see what's going on, and um, bring something from it that we can use.
Another thing before we leave off of there, because she wanted with an email, because she actually texted me a community, she wanted to do a community cleanup and collaboration with the school, the civic associations, and the partners. So I don't know whether or not the other communities are going to be coming together with the other facilitator. I'm not quite sure what that other school is.
Johnny Cake.
I don't know if it's with them or not, but that's at least one of the topics that she's going to be talking about on that meeting this week.
We have to we have to do it. I 2, maybe 3, but probably definitely 2 years, I volunteered each year on the first Friday of May. Keller Williams Realty offices shut down, and they go into schools. They choose what schools, and I think there were 2 schools in Baltimore City that I helped with, and they go out. The school does a May Day kind of thing we used to call it when I was in school, and the community goes in and does a cleanup and just kind of makes everything beautiful. So when the kids come back in the summertime, when they come back in the fall, they get to come back to something nice, but they actually also get to be a part of something that's going on. They get to play and do all of these things. But I don't think it's something that I'm glad, I'm glad she's the one that's, if she heads it, we're on board. That's perfectly fine with me. And I think we walk our dogs out there, and our dogs poop out there, and the kids can't play because they're stepping over dog poop and all this stuff. So it is the school. And what we give to the children, hopefully the children will give to us. The children were the reason I moved into this neighborhood. Just to be honest, I made the decision to move into this neighborhood. There were some really nice kids. I stopped and asked for directions. And usually kids is like, but the kids were like, yeah, and the kids were really nice. And I've come across, there's some really cool kids in this neighborhood. But they were the reason why I make the decision to move here, because they weren't beasts. So, as some kids tend to be. But with that being said, does anybody have anything? Nobody has anything? That is very cool. That is very cool. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. It has been very lovely. We are going to, yes, ma'am.
I do have
You were
something.
late.
Yes, I was. Will we be notified when the pantry will be at the school? So that through email?
They'll send something to me. I send it out to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely will. If you guys are done with me, I'm done with you. John, if you can stay on for sure, just for a minute. We're gonna stop recording right now. I want to
When is
say
our next board
our
meeting?
next meeting, our next board meeting, who knows? I don't even know if we have a board anymore. But I know that we will be getting together with mindfulness solutions consultants, and I think